Hey, what's up, phone lovers? Welcome to the Mobile Roar podcast presented by Android.com. I am Joe Fidua.
And I am Christopher Chavez.
And I am Kevin Kraus.
Excellent. So we're back again, and we have questions before the podcast even started. And we have a great question that I want to start this out. And this guy asks, what is this even about? What is this even about? Well, this is the Mobile Roar podcast where we talk about all the news that happened in mobile. We share some of our favorite apps, and we pick some wins and fails of the week. So that's what you have in for the next 60 minutes. So let's get started. We answered your question.
Yes.
And what are you about?
If anyone else has questions, they can always send them our way during the podcast.
Yes.
I guess via the Google Plus comments, right?
Yeah, it's Hangouts feature. It works. So yeah. I guess without further ado, we'll just get right into it with our top stories of the week. And first thing we're going to talk about is Samsung and the Apple patent war is apparently coming to an end outside of the U.S. at least. Is that correct?
Yeah. The companies they issued a joint statement. Actually, it's pretty short. I think I can read it here. They issued a little statement that says Apple and Samsung have agreed to drop all litigation between the two companies outside the United States. This agreement does not involve any licensing arrangements, and the companies are continuing to pursue the existing cases in the U.S. courts. So basically, it's saying that I guess they're just done with it. They don't want to spend money on fighting each other in court anymore. And it says they didn't come to any sort of licensing agreements to make this happen. So it's not like they said, okay, here's the agreement. Let's drop the issues. That's just like they finally came together and they said, hey, enough is enough. Either that or they just realized that the U.S. one is the only one that matters. Then they'll make enough money out of winning or losing that case that it's the only one that matters. But it actually follows kind of on a larger scale. Google and Apple have agreed to drop patent suits that involve Motorola mobility. They've dropped. Apple and Samsung have dropped an appeals on another patent infringement case. They're not going to pursue that any further. So it seems like in a broader sense, maybe that little period of 2 or 3 years we had where like the patent war, not just between Apple and Samsung, but between so many different companies was such a big thing. And I mean, is it safe to say we're finally over that hump and we might be entering an era of peace and harmony between the mobile tech giants?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think
I wouldn't
so.
cross my fingers on that.
But I mean, it's refreshing. It's surprising more than anything. I don't think anyone really saw this coming, but it just seemed like they were so like entrenched in their, I mean, Apple was going after these ridiculous like old Samsung products that like they not even on the market anymore. They're not even for sale. You can't even buy them if you wanted to, but they're just like, no, we don't want them. We don't want you selling them. We're not even really selling them anymore. So it was always kind of stupid, and it was more like a pissing match more than anything. But it's nice to see it just finally end. I just hated writing about it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, how long has this been going on?
For years, and I think really it kind of continues along a trend with Apple of kind of slowly starting to get away from kind of the very Steve Jobs mindset, because Steve Jobs had that famous quote where he was like, I'm going to destroy Android, or I forget the exact words of it. Basically, he was like, it's an all-out war on Android, and I'm sure a lot of the patent war type stuff stems from a lot of those sentiments and things that started back during the Steve Jobs era, and I think it's just kind of a continuation of Apple. Not so much giving in to Samsung, but more, and not really trying to get away from the ideals of Steve Jobs, but kind of going in a different direction as a company, trying to do what they have to do to remain relevant without Steve Jobs. So, I mean, it's definitely kind of interesting that they did it. I think it's great because whatever their motivations for doing it are, I mean, I always thought it was just silly to have these patent lawsuits every other day, just because they were on these things where it was like they just found like the smallest detail, and they're like, oh well, it's a rectangular shaped tablet, so it's copying the iPad. Well, what do you want it to be? Like a circular tablet? It doesn't, Doesn't make sense.
Dude, I'd
in
buy
many
a
cases.
circular tablet.
Triangle, the triangle tab. Dunder Mifflin.
Call it the frisbee. Toss it
Save
around. Hey,
Yeah.
toss me that frisbee, man.
So all you got to do is take like the Moto 360 interface and blow it up onto a bigger.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that could work.
Yeah, so that's that. I guess glad that it's ending.
Somewhat. I mean, it's
But
still going
right,
in the U.S. Yeah.
we will hear a lot about it still, just because it's still going on in the U.S., which is where a majority of our news comes from anyway. So yeah.
I mean, they've got to take care of that, but I think it's safe to say that once the current suit is up, they probably will be done with it. And it probably does have a lot to do with, I think Samsung has done enough with their recent phones where they've been really careful about infringing on patents and getting themselves in a position to be, uh, able for Apple to sue over stuff. And like Chris was saying, like a lot of the devices that they are suing over are from lawsuits that were either started years ago and haven't gotten to court yet, or just devices that have been on the market and then off the market for years. So it's not even worth pursuing anymore. So I'm glad it's over.
Good
Yes.
riddance. Good riddance.
So let's move on to the carrier that we just love to kind of make fun of, I guess. We actually haven't done it in a while, so I guess it's overdue. But Sprint is in the news, and they have a new CEO. Our buddy Dan Hesse, he's gone.
Oh, poor Dan.
Hessmeister is out at Sprint.
He's
Uh,
not going to be talking to us in any like black and white commercials anymore. And
well, he's been replaced by like an equally dopey looking guy named Marcelo Claret, or just
yeah, he has a
Clar.
heck of a name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Marcello. I don't know exactly how. I'm sure someone that's listening will probably tweet us about how we're pronouncing his name wrong. So
Um, yeah, I don't know. It feels weird. I like Dan. I mean, obviously Dan Hesse wasn't really working out for Sprint. I mean, they've been doing horribly bad, whether it was like their network rollout or just getting new subscribers and all that. But I mean, I don't. I liked Dan behind the camera though. Like when he showed up in those commercials and he was like reassuring you that like it's going to get better. I believed him for a while
It's
there.
going to
Like,
be all right.
it's gonna get
That
better.
page will eventually load.
Like it was just so funny how like that's how bad Sprint was getting to where he would actually have to tell you like, hey, just hang on a little bit longer, guys.
trust
Big
me.
things are happening. But
Yeah, but
this Marcelo guy, I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see the direction he kind of takes it. I mean, now with SoftBank at the helm, I'm sure they're going to have more of an influence on what Sprint does and possibly this new CEO. But um,
Yeah, this sounded like a very SoftBank driven move because the new guy Marcelo comes over from Brightstar, which is the Brightstar Communications, and were also acquired by SoftBank. So it's a guy from one SoftBank acquisition going to another.
yeah, he gets around.
yeah, and then the other part of the Sprint news is the T-Mobile acquisition plans, I guess, are coming to an end.
Oh gosh. I mean,
Which,
it's not surprising. Like, I don't think it really surprised anybody. I mean, nobody was really for it. Consumers weren't for it, and then the what is it? The Federal Communications and the FTC and all those people they weren't really keen to the idea of only having three major U.S. carriers. That would have just been an absolute nightmare for everybody.
Yeah, but I thought they were going to give it the old college try, at least try to get it into like in front of regulators. Instead, they're just like, the regulators probably aren't going to approve it, so why even bother?
I mean, they were feeling it out for a while. I mean, they said they were doing all kinds of research and asking regulators ahead of time, like, what's your general feeling, or how would you feel if we were to try to buy T-Mobile, and it was just not. It was like very, very negative. So I guess they just felt like there's no way this is going to happen, and rather than pull an AT&T where where the deal failed, they had to still pay out $4 billion. They're just like, let's just keep our money. We need it, and not just go for it.
But the best part though is now John Ledger of T-Mobile is having a field day on Sprint recently.
Oh gosh, and now he can finally let loose because really he was always attacking Verizon, he was attacking AT&T all the time, and since there was all this news, they're getting all friendly with Sprint courting them or whatnot. He didn't really say much about Sprint ever, but now like after that happened, he was just like, ha ha, you can finally let loose, and he was just going at it on Twitter like
He had
usual.
some great stuff to say about the Sprint Framily.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I mean, I saw him making fun of the Framily stuff even before this
Yeah,
news. So
yeah, but it's
yeah,
been
he likes to make fun of them a little bit, but definitely not as much as AT&T.
yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
think it's ramped up a lot in the past couple of days though. His mentions of the Framily. Um, But yeah, so that's not going to happen, which is funny though, because if you remember last week's podcast, at the very end of the podcast, we got a question about this other French company that was also, I guess, might still be considering acquiring T-Mobile. Uh,
Iliad.
and our kind of take on that was that we thought Sprint had the best chance, but I guess Sprint, SoftBank, they just don't even want to bother. I mean, and it makes sense. I guess if anybody's gonna come in and take it, it be an outside company that isn't going to shake up the four carrier system that's established in the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, and T-Mobile's still on the table. Like that's still very much open for someone else to come in and buy them, whatever. I mean, Deutsche Telekom has been trying to pass them off for a long time now. So if
There,
Iliad, I think there was rumors that Iliad was gonna come back with finances from like Cox or Dish, do like a joint bid to kind of purchase T-Mobile. We'll have to wait and see how that pans out. But yeah, like a lot of people still have their eye on T-Mobile right now. It just can't be Sprint, can't be Sprint, can't be Verizon, can't be AT&T.
yeah, I think that's interesting that so many people are interested in buying T-Mobile. You don't really hear about anyone interested in buying Sprint anymore, but I guess that kind of happened a while back with SoftBank. So
Yeah.
T-Mobile's kind of a hot commodity, I think.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they're carriers that are going in opposite directions. I was kind of with all the coverage that's been happening between this T-Mobile and Sprint thing. I mean, I was reading that Sprint's dropping off. Sprint's like I used to be, or they still are the third biggest, but T-Mobile's like quickly,
Yeah.
T-Mobile's gonna surpass Sprint if it hasn't already happened. But I think they're right on the edge of doing that pretty soon. So um, Sprint's kind of going in the opposite direction of T-Mobile. So of course people want to buy T-Mobile now while they can still get it fairly cheap because if T-Mobile keeps going on its upward trajectory, I mean it's going to be eventually they're going to be like we don't need anybody to buy us, we're fine.
Yeah, John Ledger's going to be like president, and they're going to take over the country.
Imagine if
We're
John
going to be
Ledger was
bathing
president,
in magenta.
what John Ledger would be like tweeting about Vladimir Putin and things like that. I mean, like
Oh my gosh. That's what Ledger needs to do right now is
Oh
like
my
branch his
gosh.
tweets out to world news and stuff.
John Ledger for president.
That's great. All right, so let's move on to some of our quicker news. That was pretty much our big stories of the week. It's a slower week, but like we said last week, kind of the dog days of summer right now. But there's a iPhone event rumored to be coming up in September. What
yep.
are we going to see, Kevin?
Well, I mean, like we've been talking about a lot of these iPhone 6 rumors for probably a year at this point, probably since even before the iPhone 5S came out. But the event, kind of keeping with the tradition, is rumored to be scheduled for September 9th, which will come right after the IFA show in Berlin. So we'll probably see a lot of new phones at IFA from Samsung and Sony and a couple other people. But then
Galaxy Note 4.
Apple's going to jump right in there and announce their new devices, and devices plural because we're still expecting Apple to announce a 4.7-inch and a 5.5-inch iPhone 6 is the name we have been saying, but we aren't totally sure. I mean, they could release one of those as an iPad or an iPhone Air, which would be interesting.
The
But
current iPhone's 4-inch, right?
Yeah, the current one is a 4-inch screen. I mean, it had the 3.7-inch display for so many years, and then with the 5, it moved up to the 4-inch, and then they're jumping up to 4.7 and 5.5.
So they're actually that's like a legit rumor is that the smallest model now will be 4.7.
Yeah, it sounds like that's what we're gonna. I mean, they'll still, of course, they'll sell the 5S like at the lower price point as a 4-inch option, and then they'll have the 6, and then whatever they call the bigger one, or if they even call that the 6.
Man, I just so many of my friends that use iPhones, I hear them say all the time that they don't want a bigger one.
Yeah, I don't want a bigger one. I mean, the 4.7, that's kind of the for me as someone that uses an iPhone, um, thinking about if I would upgrade to the next iPhone, the 4.7-inch would be the choice that I would make. But then you kind of hear rumors, and they're unsubstantiated, but it would make some sense that the 5.5-inch version will actually be better in terms of specs. Like it'll be a bit faster and have some other improved specs. So it'll, you would want the best one on the market. You'd kind of be drawn to the 5.5-inch, but I
Right.
don't want to go to that size display.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. If they did do a 5.5 inch, they would brand it something like Air or something because I just can't see Apple coming out with a phablet phone. I don't know. It's weird.
I can see them doing it, but not just as a primary device, like as something secondary like that. Yeah, but 4.7 is good though. 4.7 is like a nice, perfect roundabout size. I can still access everything with my thumb. I'd be very, very pleased with it. But
Yeah, 4.7's on like the high end of what I mean, 4.3 has been, from all the phones I've used, 4.3 inches has been like my sweet spot. Um,
I
so
remember, wasn't the Evo, what was the size of the Evo? Was it like 4.3? I want
4.3.
to say it was.
yeah, it was 4.3, and everyone was like, "It's so
Yeah, I
big."
was just thinking, like, I remember when 4.3 was the biggest. Like, everyone was like, yep, this is as big as we're going to get.
Yeah,
This
and
is pretty
people were
huge.
complaining about it at that time too. People were just like, "Man, it's too big. I don't want my phone to be that big." Like, and it's so tiny now. Now it's like the tiniest phone ever.
What were we using before? Did we have like 2-inch screens? Like what was?
Yeah, I'm like,
It
the
was the
first smartphone I ever had was the Droid Aris, the HTC Droid Aris, and I think the screen size on that was like 3.7 or something.
No, I think it was 3.5. Well, the iPhone was 3.5. The G1 was like 3.2, a little bit smaller than the iPhone. And then I think the Droid Aris was still like a 3.5 or something like
Oh, I
that.
think you're right. And then the Motorola Droid was like 3.7. It was just
Yeah.
slightly bigger.
And everyone's like, "Whoa, they're getting crazy." And the Nexus 1, I think that was 3.7. And everyone's just flipping out. Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's funny because then after the Evo came out, then a little while went by and everyone was like, "Oh, 4.3, that's the best size. That was so nice."
Yeah.
And now we're like at a point where people are like, 4.7, man, that's so comfortable. It's so nice.
Well, who is that? Someone's coming out with a 5.9-inch phone, right? Like somebody.
Oh,
We were talking about the Nexus phone. The
yeah,
HTC, like
the
the
next
6-inch
Nexus
Oh
is
yeah, the
rumored to be
Motorola Nexus. I
5.
mean, that's even the Note. The Note 4 is going to be like 5.7, and that's pretty ridiculous.
I don't know how the notes just keep getting bigger and people just keep eating it up.
You know what though? And this is kind of like maybe splitting hairs, but the reason why I feel like less offended by the Note getting bigger is they give you that stylus and they kind of imply that this, like with that stylus, they imply this is different than a regular
Right.
smartphone, you know. But
It
when you
was
just,
big from the start too. It's not like it slowly grew over time,
yeah, it's gotten bigger, but I mean, it's always
but
been.
not like if the iPhone would go to 5.5, that would be a huge difference from when it first came out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huge difference.
I mean, it's even a big, like Chris was saying, it's a big jump from where it is right now. I mean, 4 inches to 4.7 is a pretty big jump for current iPhone users.
It is, yeah.
Pretty extreme.
My question is it just going to get taller again, or do they finally make it wider?
Like from what I've seen, I've looked at the stuff and it looks like it gets a little bit wider and taller, so it kind of goes both. It's going to be both directions.
Yeah.
But it should be okay.
I don't think it's going to be some messed up aspect ratio, though. I think it's going to be pretty standard. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't want to imagine that they're going to go too much on the vertical.
Yeah.
All right. So back to Android news. Just Chris published this minutes before we went live. The Android L dev preview got an update.
Yeah, very weird. The Google just like right before we went online or live on air, they published the new build. I forget what the build number is called, but um, build number LPV 881C. And it's kind of odd because there was all kinds of articles and talk from Google that they weren't going to be updating the developer previews. People were asking. I mean, in the developer preview, there's an option where you can check for software updates, and people are like, "Oh, does that mean we're going to get updates and will it automatically update to like the official Android L once it's available?" Google just kind of squashed all that talk, saying no, it's not going to happen. But out of nowhere, here they go. They release an updated build. So nobody really knows what is in this updated build quite yet. Um, I haven't flashed it yet to my device, so I'm not sure if we'll see any changes. It might just be bug fixes, might be security stuff. I'm not really sure because it's not really meant to be run as like as on your phone as just a daily driver. You're not really supposed to be using it as your primary stuff. It's just meant for development purposes. So I'm not really sure what they would add to it. It's going to be interesting to see.
I have to imagine it's probably just like bug fixes and stability and stuff like that.
Yeah, if even that, because again, it's just a developer preview. Like really, it's just supposed to be on some secondary device that you have lying around that you're supposed to just flash it onto and make apps for it. So
Right, but if you're making apps, I mean, you want it to be OS that you can actually use to test your apps on.
Yeah, I hear you. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll hear probably more about that later if anything big was added to that.
Yeah, I'm sure there are some people digging deep into it as we speak.
But some news that I was really excited about this week because I am a Moto 360 fanboy. We got to see the wireless charging. Someone leaked out a picture of the little wireless charger device that it's going to come with. Pretty cool looking.
It's looking pretty slick.
To it on the side so you can kind of still see the screen. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I mean,
it uses Qi too, right?
Yeah, it's looking like it's using Qi, so there's no connectors or anything weird like that. It's just like legit wireless charging. So I mean, even if you didn't want to use that charger, if it's Qi enabled, you can put it on anything and wirelessly charge it.
That's what's exciting to me because I mean I have a couple of Qi wireless chargers laying around, so that'd be pretty sweet.
Take your watch off, toss it on the charger.
So convenient. So convenient.
The other thing that came out of that, the same guy who leaked that, he had some like information about it, and he said the battery life is a lot better than like the G Watch, and he said the screen is a lot easier to read outdoors than the previous devices. So that's got me pretty excited because I was really worried about those things.
Yeah, outdoor visibility on the G Watch is you can't see a damn thing, and I mean I know it's just a smartwatch, but the resolution kind of bothers me. Only that, like, I guess the text isn't as clear as I'd want it to be, and I know the Samsung version has slightly higher resolution. I think the 360, they haven't really talked about specs yet, but I think the resolution on that one's going to be even better than all those. I mean, it's looking like it's going to be the super high-end premium, like the premium Android smartwatch. It's going to be sounds expensive.
Yeah, it's going to be expensive.
Hopefully, it's worth the wait because I know it seems like a lot of people were kind of disappointed with the first two Android Wears, and they're hoping the Moto 360 kind of comes out as the one that really kind of impresses.
Well, I'm kind of hoping just by waiting this long to release it that they're kind of taking notes and seeing what people are saying about the devices that are out right now, and maybe changing some things that they can change before they release it to make it better.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's not. This thing is not going to cost under $300.
That's what I've been trying to tell people. I'm thinking 400. That's just what I'd put money on it. $400.
It seems to me like the longer we are waiting for this, the more people are realizing that it is going to be expensive.
Like every week you add $50 to what you thought it was the week before. This will be $200 next week. Oh, I think it'll be $250.
And hey, we are getting close to I mean, they said more details, or what did they say? Did they say it was going to be released this summer? I think that's what they said, right?
This summer. So yeah, it's coming.
We're getting close. I mean, Now's the time that you should look back, like earlier in the summer when all the companies said things are going to be coming out this summer. Like someone mentioned that coin Kickstarter, whatever
Oh
thing.
gosh.
That was a while ago, and that was supposed to be coming out this summer. And has anyone heard a word about that since?
That's like vaporware. I don't think that's ever gonna come out.
Yeah.
I
No,
didn't believe it was real. I mean, I paid for it, but I didn't really believe it could be a thing. I mean,
I didn't believe it was real, but I paid for it.
yeah, I'm
just
glad I didn't put money down on that. I contacted him. I said, "Hey, hit me up, like if you ever have some review units available." But
Yeah, Kevin took the cheap approach, like, "Hey, I'll review it for you guys." So,
the smart approach, more like it.
and not send it back, right? Cool. All
I
right.
mean, you paid money, Chris, so maybe you should contact them and like as a paying customer and be like, "Yo, where is the coin?"
Hey man, I gave you $60 for this thing. I think it was $60, right?
I thought it was like $100, man.
I don't remember. So you did pay for it, but you haven't gotten any updates either?
No, I mean I checked my email the other day. I think a couple months back they were kind of just like, hey, like just I don't know, talking about something in the email. It wasn't really like important or like relevant to like when they're gonna start shipping or any of that stuff. So, I mean it's different. This is kind of, I guess the risk when you do this weird crowdfunding or this weird pre-order stuff that's not on Kickstarter. At least on Kickstarter you have some sort of security. Like, I mean, is there? I think on Kickstarter, right? If you back something that doesn't come out or just fails, you get your money back.
I thought Coin was on Kickstarter. Was it? Where was it? Just
It was on nothing. It was on just a site. It's like
Yeah,
the Navdy thing that we're going to be talking about soon too.
oh
But
man, you got scammed.
me and everyone else. Oh gosh,
Coined. You got coin. See, you know.
it's their freaking spokesman. That spokesman's got the beard. He's very trusting.
Yeah,
he
he's
talks
like
to you.
in every startup
He's-
video. Too.
Yeah,
like
he's the same guy that was in the Navdy that we might as well just talk about right now.
the startup video guy. We should get him to come on the podcast.
Yeah, Mr. Startup himself.
he's the new what is it? As seen on TV guy with a beard.
Billy
Oh,
Mays here.
shoot.
Billy Mays,
Billy
yeah.
Mays. Here. Billy Mays here.
He's the new Billy Mays. It's like instead of like a cheesy infomercial, he's got swag. He's hip. Talks to you in plain
He's
language.
so nonchalant, is
Yeah.
what I noticed in his Navdy video, which we should probably explain before we talk about it
Yeah,
anymore.
what is
but-
Navdy? I want to see this video.
So Navdy is this thing that you put on your dashboard, and then it gives you a heads-up display that you can see through, kind of like you would see in a plane or something like that. And it's supposed to be much better for driving and paying attention to the road. You don't have to change your focus and look at your phone. And it connects with your phone via Bluetooth, I think, and you can get like phone notifications. You can get driving instructions, and you can do like crazy gestures with your hand in front of it to like interact with it. And it costs $300, but it looks pretty dang cool.
It does. It looks kind of neat. It's a little bulky, a little big, but I mean, I guess for what it's doing, it's kind of
That's cool.
it's interesting. It's like Google Glass for the car. I mean, it's using
It
the
really
same-
is, yeah.
So wait, does this really project it onto your windshield?
It doesn't
project
project
it
it
onto
on the
the-
windshield. It's on the little plexiglass.
Yep.
thing.
So
Yeah,
it's
because
like
It would be really neat if
See-through.
it did go on your windshield, though.
I mean, I can't imagine why they wouldn't just shoot it on your windshield, but I guess because some windshields are like
Yeah,
at a
you need,
super
like,
crazy angle.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to read it.
you need like
Yeah.
a special to be able to make it happen. But this is like the technology they used to make the Tupac hologram.
You could get Tupac in your car.
Dude, that could be an app. They should make an app for Navdy where it's like Tupac. shows
He's
you-
like pointing which way to turn and stuff.
That way. That'd be great. But yeah, so this whole Navdy thing, was it $300? It's
Yep.
just like it's almost the exact same thing as Coin. So it's being kind of crowdfunded, outside of Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or any of those things, and it's just got a bunch of buzz, of course, around like all the tech sites and stuff, and everyone's talking about it. $300 doesn't ship until 2015.
Dang.
And it's 40% off, so it's gonna be like $500 once it finally does come out. But pretty much everyone I've shown this, I show this even to my girlfriend, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I need that," because she like drives for Lyft or whatever. That would be super convenient. So she was already ready to like buy it, and then she even saw the $300 price and was like, "I'm out." amount. But
I was surprised by how expensive it was because I saw the video first outside of their website, and then I went to their website afterwards, and I was expecting it to be like 199 or
yeah,
something,
tops.
$300. Like, geez.
Kind of more. I mean, for what it does, it seems like I don't know. I mean, maybe it's because they're trying to manufacture it themselves and they're not going through like some big huge company and they're just a little startup. But that is a little bit pricey, and I just don't. I feel like it's not going to be as functional or as cool as everyone thinks it's going to be. You're going to be driving and scratching your head, and it's going to think you're making a hand gesture, and you're going to be calling mom or doing. I don't even know what, but.
Yeah, and I would also, I mean, I don't know exactly how this, it looks like it works with a projector, so I bet if it's like really sunny out, it's probably hard to see, and I don't know.
It'd probably be a little bit difficult, but
None of that matters, guys. Their video looked really cool.
because they had the
You should
guy.
do it.
They had the guy.
They had the guy.
I think that the people that made Coin probably just made this.
That's the feeling that I got.
Yeah, what if they're just like scammers? Like they figured out the formula. You make these really awesome looking videos, and all the tech sites will post about it, and you just rake in the cash.
Dude, I would honestly. I'm getting ready at any point for someone to just blow the lid off of this and just be like, dude, you guys all got scammed again. I mean, what is he gonna come up with next? I mean, they're interesting. I mean, they're interesting little products, and they're like kind of advanced enough to where you're like, dude, I think I want that, but not too far ahead to where it's like, dude, that's totally impossible. There's no way it's gonna ever be a real.
There is some sense of that though, because I remember the coin thing. I was just like, how is this even like? How is there a battery in this? And like, I remember talking about it on this podcast. Like, how the heck does this thing even work?
Yeah, I mean, lasts for a full year. It's always connected to Bluetooth, and the battery is paper thin. I mean, that it still doesn't make much sense. But I mean, they showed like the product guy. He's like dismantling. He's showing you prototypes and how they like worked on it for all this time. And
I mean, there's a reason why it's not out yet.
Yeah, that was the small print. Is you'll get one of these when the technology exists.
Yeah. Well,
I think this Navdy thing looks like it has a better chance of actually coming out.
Yeah, for sure.
That's pretty cool. I think I like this technology. I like the idea of it, but I'll wait until this is like a standard option in most cars and just on your actual windshield.
All right, so moving on. Google is getting into the wildlife business. They're going to open up a zoo. They just purchased Emu.
Oh gosh, I was like, wait, what? I did not remember this. Like, what the hell is going on?
So apparently this is a messaging app. I've literally never heard of it though.
Yeah,
so you have to tell me about it.
Nobody heard of it, but okay. So there was a company. It's called Emu, and they make this really cool messaging client for Android and iOS. It was actually created or founded by some of the guys that worked at Siri, people that worked at Google, some of the guys that worked at TechCrunch. I mean, it had like a bunch of big names behind it and stuff, but no one ever really heard of the app. The app came out like in 2012 or something, but basically what it does is it combines messaging with like a personal assistant, so it's like smart messaging. So if you're texting your wife or girlfriend or someone and they're like, hey, don't forget to pick up milk today, you'll see a little reminder or whatever that's appended to the message at the bottom, and it'll just say, do you want to make a reminder for this? And you click it, and it just adds a reminder, and you don't have to jump out of the app. You don't have to do anything, really. It's just all right there inside the app, or, hey, where are you, or how far away are you? And then it'll show like a map, and you can just click the map, and it'll just send them that. We kind of already have that functionality in Google Hangouts as it is, but there's a bunch of other stuff that it does, too. If you talk about movies, it'll show bloop, a little movie bubble, all these available movies, and you can click one and it'll send it to that person. And kind of cool, kind of busy. I mean, it was doing a lot, but you can see how Google would, see the value in this company. I mean, they're trying to everything that they're doing with Google Now and being able to predict what you want before you want it, and with the company like Emu that has this technology in messaging, I mean, they could infuse Google Now into Google Hangouts and make it like this super crazy messaging app that, I guess it kind of needs to be, because messaging is kind of a competitive competitive thing right now. I mean, you got
Very competitive.
WhatsApp, and I mean they got bought by Facebook for I don't know how many billion, 15 billion or something ridiculous, 14 billion. And so I mean, there's obviously a lot of value in this, and it was a very kind of quiet move. They just swooped in and bought Emu. Emu, I mean, no one really knew about them, and they just kind of published it on their site. And um, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see where they take it and what they do with it.
Yeah, I think they could do so much more to improve Hangouts. So
Yeah, I mean,
hopefully,
a lot of people hate it. I like what they're doing. I think the Hangouts on iOS is a little bit better than the Android version, just in that you can send just voice messages, you can send video messages, things like that. And it seems like the Android version just keeps lagging behind. I don't know what the Android team specifically is doing, but those guys need, I don't know, they need to get their act together.
yeah. So that's exciting. And then our last bit of news here, Windows Phone 8.1 Update 1 is rolling out to the developer preview. So I guess similar to the Android L developer thing. If you're running that, you can get the latest update. And I think the main thing that they added in that is you can make folders on your start screen now, which look pretty cool.
Oh, that is cool. Do they still have like the live tiles? It'll still show you stuff.
Yeah, you just like you drag a tile over a tile, and then it makes the tile becomes like a folder, and you can see the little icons of all the apps that are inside of that folder. And when you tap it, there's a cool animation where the apps that are inside of it just kind of like appear in that row on the start screen. It's pretty
It's
neat.
cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I like where these companies are going with this whole like developer preview stuff. I mean, it's fun. Even
Yeah, it's great because I have like this old HTC 8X. I don't know if you remember that phone.
oh yeah.
Yes.
And that thing hasn't been updated in a long time, but like just the other day I was able to get this update on it, so it's really awesome.
Oh dang, that's cool. I think I have an 8X still too, lying around somewhere under my bed or somewhere.
All
That's
right,
cool.
so without further ado, wins and fails of the week, and Kevin, I love
Oh,
your win of the week. It's so funny.
Yeah, this is my win for a couple of reasons. One, it's funny. You may or may not remember a few years back. I can't really. Yeah, it was a while ago. We got a pretty funny story, and I wouldn't have. I actually probably wouldn't have believed it until this was kind of confirmation of it. An Apple employee worked in an Apple store out in British Columbia, and
Canada.
so up in Canada, and a guy named, of all things, Sam, first name Sam, last name Sung. So put the two together. This guy's name
So
was
awesome.
Samsung. Um, and so since we're on the theme of Samsung and Apple making peace, uh, he is currently auctioning off one of his Apple business cards, his uniform from the Apple Store, his lanyard with his name on it. And before you go saying, oh, this guy's just trying to cash in on something that went a little viral because of his name, he's actually doing this all for a good cause. He's donating to the Children's Wish Foundation all the proceeds. And right now, let's see where the bid currently sits.
Yesterday it was 2,500.
Yesterday it was $2,500. Today it's $80,000.
Oh!
Shut the freak up! No
Shut the front door.
freaking way. That is ridiculous.
Plus $70 shipping. But
What
yeah,
in the world?
$80,200.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I almost can't believe
Way
it.
to go, Samsung.
I mean, that's just one guy, right? That's a bid. So it's like it's just some dude out there is giving that much money for
Well, it's
charity.
going to a charity, but you know what? It could also be cover from the real Samsung to raise money to pay Apple back for the lawsuit.
He was a man created by Samsung.
Oh,
But
that's
yeah, so if you have 80,000 lying around and you want a piece of internet viral history, and you want to
I
help
mean,
out
it's
some,
not even. It's so like it's such a very like a niche joke. Like no one's gonna even understand it.
well,
And
the funniest thing is like he probably handed out hundreds of these business cards while he worked.
yeah, so there's a bunch of people that have them. So I mean, obviously this person is donating for a lot. Whoever this person is donating $80,000, it's just money that's just pocket change to them. They're
Is
just
there a
doing it.
picture of the business card like on his thing?
If you go to the eBay page, you can see it. You can see the whole setup. There's actually the full
Oh,
package is a frame with the T-shirt, the lanyard and the business card, and it's signed.
I'm just gonna recreate that business card and start selling it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Apple probably uses a very specific kind of like rice paper or something.
Stationery.
The foil.
I mean, I would guess that part of the high bidding price has to go with the fact that it is for charity. I don't know if he put this up just for his own purposes. That
Yeah,
it's paying nearly this
he
much.
did it just for himself. It probably would have got like $200.
Yeah, everybody be like, "You jerk."
But anyway, I thought that was a funny story and for a good cause. So that's my win of the week. My fail of the week, not necessarily mobile related, but drones are a big thing, and some of these drones you can control them with your phone and watch the videos with the phone. And this is a thing that a lot of tourists like to do apparently in national parks. It's become such a big issue that many national parks have banned the use of drones within their borders. That didn't stop one tourist from flying his drone in Yellowstone over the hot springs, and he actually managed to crash his drone right into the Grand Prismatic Spring last weekend. And this drone is now submerged in 160-degree waters, but the park officials hope to be able to remove it so that they can prevent any potential ecological impacts that the drone would have.
That's crazy.
Wouldn't it just like get shot up in the spring? Wait, it's
not
you're
the
not talking
geyser.
about
It's the
not
hot
a geyser. Never mind.
That's
Yeah,
all
no.
I know of Yellowstone.
This
They
is
got
just
that
like-
geyser.
It's just a pool of hot water.
That'd be pretty sweet. Like geyser shoots this drone up in the air, and then the guy just starts flying it again. Like, thanks.
I mean, you can't blame them because you get some cool aerial footage of
Yeah.
some of the sites around Yellowstone. Would be pretty cool, but yeah, it's obviously like they don't want you doing it. They banned them from the park, and
Seems like the best place to fly a drone is at these national parks and stuff.
yeah, but you hit like an endangered eagle or something.
Yeah, then you're in trouble. That's a hefty fine right there.
So just be careful with your drones out there. Pretty soon we'll have thousands of drones delivering our Amazon packages. So
I'm gonna have a drone deliver me a drone because I really want one.
An Amazon drone dropping you off a drone.
All right. So my win of the week is Firefox. This is kind of actually on the recommendation of Chris. Last week, after the podcast, I was talking to these guys about how Chrome seemed to be really bogging down my computer, so I decided to give Firefox a try. I've been using it for a week now, and I started using the Firefox Android app too, and I have to say that I really like it. I haven't used Firefox in probably like 3 or 4 years. But I like it a lot, and the mobile app's really nice too. It has good syncing with your account, just like you can do in Chrome. It doesn't seem to be having a bad impact on my computer either, like Chrome was. Chrome was just so processor intensive, I felt like, and it's running a lot smoother now. So I'm gonna stick with it.
Yeah, every tab I have open like takes up a percentage of my CPU. It's the weirdest thing. Whereas Firefox, your tabs just kind of close. When you open them again later, they'll need to like reload or whatever. But it's just more tab friendly, I feel like, and not as resource intensive. It's so much lighter.
We all know how much you like your tabs.
Oh gosh, so many of them.
I don't even know how you can tell which tab is which because they're so tiny that like.
Once the little favicon or the fave icon, whatever, disappears, that's when I'm like, oh gosh, I gotta like delete something. Because then
that's when you hit rock bottom.
Yeah, that's when it's just like. But and I'm almost at that point right now. There's a lot up there.
I don't know how you can handle it. I literally have 4 tabs open right now. That's it.
Crazy. I can't let go. That's my problem.
All right, so my fail of the week is something that has actually made me very, very sad, and that is Justin TV is shutting down.
Is that Justin Bieber, Timberlake?
Justin.tv, you know that streaming site?
Oh, yes.
I just learned this week, but apparently Twitch originally was Justin TV.
Yeah,
A separate stream, and then they made.
Yeah, it was the gaming section, and then it was so popular that they decided to basically roll it out and make it its own site. So now Twitch is so huge and just massively popular that they're gonna just devote all of their resources to that, and they're shutting down Justin TV. But the reason that's making me so sad is because Justin TV is just, it has so many channels of TV shows just streaming 24 hours a day. Like, I don't even know why these people run these channels, but you can just, there's like a Bob's Burgers channel, a Seinfeld channel, King of Queens channel, and you just go to this channel and it's just looping through every single episode of the show. And it's just like a regular TV channel that you can just watch whenever you want. And I used it so much on my Roku. I would just turn it on and just pull up like King of Queens and just like veg out in front of it for a few hours. And now I'm really sad that I can't do that.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Aw, it is. It's dying. I mean, I haven't used it since like the MySpace days, but that's crazy.
It's such a weird site because it started as I don't think people even do this anymore. Life casting? We wear the camera on your head like 24 hours a day and people can just watch you.
I guess that explains the name. I guess it was Justin.
Yeah, the very first guy, his name was Justin, and he was life casting his life. And yeah, that's why the site started. It's like weird internet time right there where people would you could just like watch people walk around.
We were bored and that was the coolest thing to do.
All right, Chris, what do you got for us?
My wins and fails, huh? My win, we'll get to that in a moment, but I guess my fail is going to be, well, it was, I didn't know we were going to talk about it earlier, but it was the whole T-Mobile pulling out of the, our Sprint pulling out of the T-Mobile deal. It sucks. It sucks for them. As far as wins go, there's kind of a lot of cool stuff that happened this week. I'm not really sure what app updates and stuff are pretty neat. I think the one that I'm probably the most excited about.
I'm going to put that on a T-shirt. App updates are pretty neat. Chris Chavez.
Jokes are funny. I like jokes. Lyft Line. So Lyft announced that they're going to be expanding their whole ride sharing thing with a new carpooling thing that they're going to be doing, a program that they're going to be doing for it. So it's meant for everyday use. So like Lyft is pretty cool. My girlfriend does it, and that's kind of like her main source of income right now. And when I told her about this, she was kind of excited. So it's like carpooling. So if you're going to be doing a long ride, you can pick to choose Lyft Line, and Lyft Line will have like a incredibly discounted rate. And once the Lyft guy comes and picks you up, he makes a couple more stops to pick up some other people, and everyone just carpools in this car, and you all go to like the same destination. So it's kind of interesting, like the technology that is going behind it. Lyft purchased some company, I forget what they're called, like Robin or something like that, but and they're the ones that are kind of be overseeing this. So it's kind of neat. It's neat because it's super cheap, and if you don't have a car and you don't like waiting for the bus or trying to plan your life around bus schedules and doing all this ridiculousness, Lyft Line actually would just be great because you could just beep somebody, they'll come pick you up, take you where you need to go, and with carpooling, it's so cheap that you could use it every single day to go to work, go to school, do whatever you need. But unfortunately, it's just in San Francisco at the moment and just for the iOS app. But they said they're going to be rolling it out to Android app soon, and then eventually more cities, depending on demand and whatnot. So something to definitely look forward to. That's a big, big win for me this week.
Going to be making lots of friends in carpools.
Okay, so on that note, you just reminded me too. There was an article published on Jalopnik, one of those Gawker sites about.
Jalopnik?
Yeah, there you go, Jalopnik. So
sister site, Jalopnik
kind of website.
Apparently, there's like a lot of what do they call it? Fraternizing. I don't know if that's even the real word for it, but. Between Lyft drivers and Uber drivers and whatever, but people are hooking up, like with their Lyft drivers and stuff, and it's like the craziest thing. So you'll just go pick up some chick, and hook up. It's like this thing.
That's a new app idea,
Yeah,
dating app where you get a ride somewhere.
Dating and a ride dating. Ride dating. That's. I think we're
So
on
is
to the
there
next.
like a secret word here that you mutter to your driver that's like,
No, I mean
this is
it's.
why I'm here?
So people discovered it on because of those, what do you call it, like secret, all those, anonymous sharing
Okay.
social network things.
Whisper and stuff.
Yeah, but so people are spilling their experiences on there. So they're like, oh, got picked up by a Lyft driver. He was really cute, so I, did this or that with him in the back seat, and yada yada yada. And it's like, it's a thing. Like it's happening like
Do they
so
keep
much.
the clock running, or do they not bill them for that? Like,
Yeah. that's, that's a good question. That's a really good question. So it's kind of funny because my girlfriend's a Lyft driver now, so now I'm always like hitting her up like, yo, who you what's going on? What's going on over there?
Paranoid Chris, yeah.
It's the funniest thing.
you could have a Life TV channel that just followed Chris's interactions with his girlfriend and technology.
No kidding, I know. What was it, a few podcasts ago, you were like talking about this app that you were downloading to keep track of all the things that your girlfriend said or something?
Oh yeah, boyfriend lock. I still use it. It's so funny. But yeah, so interesting. So if you're looking for a date, don't go on Tinder. Just pick up,
Yeah,
Uber.
just get a ride.
get a ride from Lyft, and cross your fingers. It's a good-looking person.
So what's your fail?
Oh, my fail. My fail was the T-Mobile thing, but I
All right, you led with that. My bad.
Yeah.
Flipped it and reversed it.
All right, so our app picks of the week, Kevin.
Right, let's talk about some apps, yo. For me, my pick is NFL Now app. It just came out. It's kind of appropriate. The football season is kind of underway. Preseason started last weekend, so some games are going on this weekend. But NFL Now, it's a new app. It's from the NFL, so you get a lot of NFL Network type content, highlights. You can follow your favorite teams, all that stuff. So it's just another app, kind of similar to other NFL apps from first party NFL Network type stuff. But this one looks pretty cool. Looks promising. It's free. To get most of these things, there is, as with most apps, you can pay extra to get some exclusive clips and highlights and things like that. But that's pretty good. But the coolest thing that I thought, though, is that outside of the U.S. and I think Canada maybe and the U.K., outside of a couple different countries, if anyone downloads this app in other parts of the world, they get free access on Sundays to the Red Zone network, which shows all the games all the time, and then they get free access to NFL Network highlights all day on Sundays. So I guess that's kind of NFL's prerogative to expand into markets outside of the U.S.
There's another NFL app too that I think lets people outside of the countries you mentioned watch live games, and pretty jealous of that.
But we've seen a lot of these exclusive NFL apps before, and normally they're paired up with a provider, like Verizon will have an exclusive deal or whatever. Carrier will have an exclusive deal to have the NFL app. So this one is open for everyone. It's on iOS and Android, and it looks pretty good. I wouldn't expect too much. Again, it is kind of, you're not getting third party kind of coverage, so it's all kind of what the NFL wants you to see. But if you're into the NFL, if you're excited about the season starting soon and the preseason games coming up, you can download it now, check it out, follow your favorite teams and players, and it looks pretty good.
So my app pick of the week is an iOS app, which is probably a first for me.
Wow.
I don't own any iOS devices, so but I saw this app called Push for Pizza, and it's pretty dang cool. It literally all you do is you push a button and you get a pizza delivered to you. All the work you have to do is kind of the first time you open the app, you're gonna select like your pizza preferences, and your like payment options and things like that, and then it ties into a service. I can't remember the name of the service, but it powers things like delivery.com.
Mhm.
And so after you put in your payment preferences and pizza preferences and stuff like that, you hit this button wherever you are, and it's gonna find the closest place to deliver you the type of pizza that you like, and it's just going to automatically order it from them. It's gonna pay for it, tip included, and then it's gonna be sent to wherever you are. So pretty dang nifty if you want pizza really quickly.
Yeah, I was reading about this and it sounds really cool. But I guess it's not the one caveat is it's not really for people that are picky about where they get their pizza from because you don't really have a choice in where your
Right.
pizza's
And
coming
and
from.
I believe the only options is cheese or pepperoni
Yeah.
pizza.
So
Yeah.
I would be pretty. I can think of a few places in my neighborhood that I've gotten delivered from before that if they did this and they showed up at my door with their pizza, I'd be like, no, it'd be such a
Yeah.
gamble. It'd be such a gamble, but I mean, for the most part, yeah.
I mean, you don't want Little Caesars showing up like, oh gosh, get out of here with
I
that.
think if you're in a state of life where you just all you can manage is push for pizza, you probably
Yeah.
don't care what pizza's showing up.
Well, I mean,
Seriously.
the promo ad was just like a bunch of kids sitting on the couch, and they're just like, man, it'd be cool to have a pizza, bro.
Yeah.
And they're
The
just like,
video was so great.
yeah, like, do you want to call? He's like, no, man, I don't want to call. Like, and it's just ridiculous. It's like, you have to be that lazy to like.
I'm the same way though. I hate calling. Like I'll always just I order pizza from places that let you order online.
Yeah, if it's not online or the app or whatever, it's like I'm not even gonna bother. Otherwise, it's like it's always a back and forth. Like I always tell my girlfriend, like, "Hey, order pizza," and I don't want you call him. Like, hey, Mike, you call him, and it's just like always like no one wants to deal with that stuff. It's the worst.
Yeah.
All right, so going on to my app pick. It's actually not really an app though, so that's kind of different. But it's a service called Leak, and it's kind of like in a similar vein to those anonymous social, being anonymous online and revealing crazy confessions and whatnot.
Lies.
You go to leak.it or something like that. We'll have the link in the whatever. But it lets you just send anonymous emails to whoever the heck you want. So it's kind of interesting because you don't need to download an app or anything. You can just open your web browser, whether it's your phone or your computer, and you can just send anyone you want an anonymous email saying whatever you like. So if you have a boss that you want to just give them a piece of your mind, or maybe you want to tell like an ex that they might need to go get an STD check, whatever.
Jeez.
It's like perfect. I was thinking about all the different ways that you could use this, and it's just so amazing. Like, it's the
Is this
best.
another way you're gonna like mess with your girlfriend? You're gonna start sending
I
anonymous
mean,
emails.
I already was sending stuff, and it was just kind of like, I know what you did last night, just to kind of see, if she would start sweating under the pressure, and didn't get any reaction out of her. And a couple of days later, I told her, I was like, hey, did you get an anonymous email? And she was like, I knew that was you, whatever. Just kind of funny. So I think it's awesome because with all those other, anonymous sharing sites, all that stuff, you got to like add friends, and if you don't have that many friends that are on the service, you're just like broadcasting out to nobody. But with this, you take the secret directly to who it's intended for, and it's just it's so awesome. Like no one needs to join anything. You just enter the email, enter the message, send it, and you're good to go. So,
I mean, no
awesome.
offense to this company or website or whatever, it looks pretty nice, but I mean, I've done this with other sites before. It's not exactly a new concept. I mean, everyone's heard of like Bug Me Not, where you get a disposable email address to sign up for a site that you don't want to get spam from or something.
Oh yeah, the burner.
But I guess
emails
this
and all
might
that.
be different because are you not able to receive email
Yeah,
in it though?
you can't get
Okay.
anything back. I mean, once it's out there, it's just done. It's completely gone, and they can't reply. Nothing. I mean, it's completely
So I
done.
guess it is kind of like the reverse of something like Bug Me Not. Bug Me Not is giving you an inbox that you can get rid of, whereas this place is letting you actually send something.
Yeah, it's very just, I mean, there's no setup, no nothing required at all. You just put in an email, put in a message, send it, and that's it. So the website is justleak and then .it. So justleak.it.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right. I think that is going to wrap things up for this week. You can get in touch with us with our email address, podcast@mobileroar.com. You can subscribe to the audio version of the podcast on Stitcher Radio, in the iTunes Store, Windows Phone, Anywhere that you listen to podcasts, we're available. You can follow us individually on Twitter. Chris is at GamerCore. Kevin is at You Don't Know Kev, and I am at Tall Schmo. You can always hit us up there with questions for the podcast, comments, whatever you want as well. We'll see you guys next week. Later.
See ya.